Hello, tiny humans, and welcome back to Art at Home with Miss Wilkin. Today, we're going to be working on a fun project that I think you guys are really going to like. So we all know that life has been a little bit different since all of this coronavirus has happened. We've had to stay at home, we got to wash our hands, we can't give hugs and high fives like we used to, and I have to say, I definitely miss it. So I'm going to teach you guys today how to make your own safe, clean, germ-free high five that you can share with anybody. You can make a couple and high five each other. You can make one and send it as a card to somebody that you're missing, or you can give it as a gift to someone. Or, like Miss Wilkin has behind her, you could just hang it up for decoration. It's very fun, and it's a cool way to share some excitement in a time that we have to make some changes. So let's get started. All right, so what we're gonna need to make this high five hand is 2 pieces of paper. I have 2 blank pieces of paper, but if you have 2 colored pieces of paper, that's totally fine too. I'm gonna color my own, and you'll notice my paper is actually a little bit thick. It's a thicker kind of paper than we usually use. So if you're using just regular printer paper, just go a little bit lighter as you're coloring so that you don't tear it. Mine is a little bit sturdier. So what we're gonna do is you need your 2 pieces of paper. You'll need a marker or something to draw with, a pair of scissors, something to color with if you wanna color, some glue. I recommend wet glue for this project, but if you have a glue stick, if you only have a glue stick, that will work too. And then I just have a piece of cardboard that I cut off of an old box that's gonna help me maneuver my hand, and I'll show you guys how it actually works. So what we're gonna be making is 2 different pieces. So we're gonna start by making a sleeve for our hand to come out of, and all that is 1 piece of paper that I folded in half and I've glued on one side. So it makes a sort of sleeve. Then I just colored and decorated it. And for my second part, I did a hand out of paper, and then you can see I've glued it to this cardboard so that I can slide my hand into this little pocket. And there we go. So I'm gonna stick my high five over here, and I'm just sticking them down with a piece of tape. That's also very helpful if you want to put it on the table and move your hand without moving your pocket. I just stuck mine down with some tape. So let's get started. You want to move everything out of your way except for 1 sheet of paper. So you're going to take your first sheet and you're going to fold it in half so that the short side touches the short side, so like a birthday card. We're going to press down. We want a nice fold there. Good. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to try to make it look like a sleeve, but I'm only going to decorate this front part. If you want to, you can decorate both sides to look like a sleeve. I'm going to focus on this front part here. If you're having some trouble, look at the sleeves of your shirt, or look at the sleeves of some of your longer sleeve shirts. They can be striped, they can have any kind of designs on them that you guys want. So I'm going to decorate mine, and then I'll show you how to glue it together. All right, awesome. So once you've got your sleeve all colored and decorated however you want, you're gonna open up your paper like a birthday card, like a card, and then you're gonna use your wet glue or your glue stick, and we're gonna glue just this edge. That way, we're gonna create a sort of tube for our hand to go in. And I am just using a little bit of glue, a nice little line there. I'm gonna fold this back over and I'm gonna squish it down. Awesome. So you'll see that I only glued this edge. I did not glue the top or the bottom so that I'll still be able to slide my hand in. I want to also give this a few minutes to dry before I try to put anything in it, which is why I like to glue it first. So I'm going to set my sleeve off to the side and I'm going to grab my second piece of white paper. With this, we're going to start the same way we did with our last one. We're going to fold it in half with the short side touching the short side. And then using your marker or your pencil or whatever it is that you chose to draw with, you're going to trace around your hand. Now, I'm sliding my bracelets up so I don't get marker on them. If it's easier for you, you can have a parent or a friend trace around your hand. But what you want to make sure of is that it's small enough that it will fit in our sleeve, which is why we fold our paper in half to make sure our hand isn't bigger than the sleeve it's going in. So I'm going to put my fingers a little bit apart. You guys will probably be able to spread your fingers a little bit more, which will make it easier for you to cut later. But I'm going to make my hand as big as I can, spread my fingers apart, and I'm going to use my marker to trace. Now remember, when we're tracing around our hands, just like when we traced around our bodies, you want to hold your marker or your pencil straight up and down, right up against your wrist and your hand. That way we don't end up with big monster hands. I'm going to stay as still as I can and get as close to my fingers as I can as I trace. Perfect. Now, when I go and cut, I can smooth out some of these areas where I did the bumps around my knuckles, and it'll make it a little bit easier for me to cut it out. But I also want to make sure that I'm only cutting this front side. This part we can save for another project, or you can use it to add any details you might want to your hand or to your sleeve. So I'm going to cut this hand out as nicely as I can. All right, awesome. So once you have your hand cut out, you're going to decide what kind of color you want to make it. It can be the same color as your skin like I've done here, or it can be a crazy color. This is your high five hand, so you get to decide. But before we color it in, especially if you're using crayons, we want to write on our hand first before we color with the crayons. Because if you guys remember, crayons are real waxy, which means they're kind of smooth, and our marker has a lot of trouble sticking to the waxy crayon. So we definitely want to write anything we want in marker first and then color with crayon. If you're using colored pencil or all markers, you can color in any order you want. So I'm going to start. I'm going to actually use that second half of my paper to put underneath my hand for when I'm coloring so I don't get my table all dirty. I like to have a black outline around my hand, around my fingers. I think it looks more fun. You can decide you want to do it however you want. If you just want to color the whole thing one color without any of the black lines, that's fine. But I'm going to start by putting the black lines around the outside of my hand. All right, awesome. So I've got my black outline that I like. Now I'm going to use a different color to write high five in my hand. You can do it with that black marker. You can do it with your crayons or whatever color you like. I think since I chose blue for my last one, we will use purple this time. You can write whatever you want in your hand. I like to write high five so that I can use it during my Zoom meetings so that the person that I'm talking to, even if my sound isn't off, maybe they can see that I'm giving them a high five. So I'm going to start by writing my word in the middle of my hand. And I'm just going to color a skin color over top of it. And since I used my skin color for this last one, I'll use a different skin color for this hand. And all I'm going to do is really gently color over top, even over top of where I wrote, because I used a dark color. So you'll still be able to see it even behind my skin tone. So once you've got everything colored in, we're going to take our sleeve that's pretty dry and our scrap piece of cardboard, and all I'm going to do is flip my hand over on the back. I'm going to take some of my wet glue and put it on my cardboard stick. Oops. Like that. And then I want to make sure that I'm putting my cardboard piece high up on my hand. So right about underneath your fingers is where you want to stick it. All right, so once you stick your cardboard on there, you want to give it a few minutes to dry, but as soon as it's dry, you can go ahead and take your sleeve, slide your high five hand inside, and test it out. Very cool. So now, one last thing that you guys can do with this project is if you want to share it with somebody, or you want it to send it to somebody or give it to somebody that you love, you can always use this back side to write a note. Or if you decide that you want to give it as a gift, you can leave some space on the front to write a letter to someone, to give them or send them a super cool high five. All right, well, I hope you guys really enjoyed this lesson. I think you all deserve a huge high five. I really want to see what you guys create, so definitely send me pictures of your high fives. Share them with your friends and family. Make a bunch, give each other high fives. I'd love to see it all. I hope you're being safe. Have so much fun with this project, and I'll see you soon. Bye.